along with Jeremy McGrath. You see number 4, Larry Ward, in our shot. Kevin Windham, Mike LaRocco, Mikel Pachon, Michael Craig, Greg Albertine, Jimmy Ferry, Phil Lawrence, John Sebastian Roy, Steve Lamson trying to work himself back into shape. Kevin Windham having a tough time coming out of practice this week. He was going about 55 miles an hour in 5th gear when he fell down in a gravel.
He's got a raspberry all the way down his shoulder and arm. It's pretty tender out there, and he gets sweaty. The jersey's sticking to it, and all that motion through the whoop-de-doos. It's got to be a little bit of a distraction for him, but he looked pretty good in practice. I talked to his mechanic. He said if he can just ride better in the races. He rides great. A lot of times he's the fastest in practice, but he can't put it together in the main.
Okay, we're set to go for the second qualifying heat. Who will get the whole shot here on this important track? It's number 13, Michael Craig, is out in front, but will he catch the whole shot? Craig, number 13, the leader, but Jeremy McGrath right behind him.
3 wide through the air off the triple.
Lamson, number 17, to the inside on the Honda. But right now, Honda of choice, Michael Craig, trying to establish the lead. Jeremy McGrath tripling into the corner, goes to the outside to swing up. Here comes McGrath, look out. He wants to get him early. Number 24, Lawrence, is in 4th. Windham right behind him. Lamson, a bobble. Lamson back battling for 4th with Windham.
In practice, Art, Mike Craig was all over McGrath, both sessions, trying to learn as much as possible. And usually McGrath will pull off. Doesn't want anybody to follow him around, learn his stuff. He just stayed out there, let Mike follow him around. It appears that it paid off a little bit. Mike's comfortable out there running in front of him.
A little bobble by McGrath in that corner now, and he's lost some time to Michael Craig. Craig so far this year, he won a heat back at Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona, and that's when he got on the podium in a 3rd place spot. But since that time, he's been saddled with 2 15th place finishes.
I know he's not happy about that. Capable of a lot better. Little mistake there by Craig this time. McGrath gains a little bit.
Jeremy having to put on the brakes, almost clipping the back tire. Here he goes through the rhythm section into the whoops. Jeremy McGrath in 1st place with Michael Craig. Then Phil Lawrence on Kawasaki of Mexico. Steve Lamson right behind him. I'm surprised Windham hasn't made a move, and Mike LaRocco's behind Windham.
I think they're trying as hard as they can, but I've heard a lot of the talk in the pits. The track tonight is fast. Everyone's running about the same pace, and you're trying as hard as you can, and the guy in front of you is not making any mistakes. It's just tough to make up ground, but McGrath has proven it's possible. So was Button in that Heat 1.
Jeremy McGrath, who's won 4 in a row here in Indianapolis before last year. And last year, of course, had all kinds of problems. He would just as soon forget about it. He pushes it out of his mind. In 1997, coming up with a 9th place finish. He's established the lead now, as Craig is going to have to fight for his life. He's got Lawrence in 3rd behind him. And number 17, Lamson, and Windham in the same order. So far, very little passing on the bubble.
I think there's going to be some. Lawrence's position is going to be threatened. Lawrence has got a great start. He can run with these guys, especially in a heat race. Only 8 laps, 20-lap final. Gets a lot tougher, but Lawrence has just been telling me, he goes, I just got to get a start, get up there, run with these guys, figure out what they're doing. I know I can do it.
The checkers and 4 more riders advance to the main event when we get back. It is our second qualifying heat from Indianapolis, Indiana. Jeremy McGrath leading. But the battle right here, as you see, number 24, Phil Lawrence, cutting off Michael Craig for 2nd place. Steve Lamson in 4th. 4 riders qualifying, going into the main event out of this heat. Windham still has a shot at Steve Lamson. Art Ekman, David Bailey, and Marty Reed bringing you this action. And David, we've seen some unbelievable heat qualifying action this year, and that's sending a lot of names to the semis.
Well, I think there's a couple of reasons for that. One is what a phenomenal year in terms of talent. There's so much depth. Another is the design of the racetrack. Pretty wide open. Even the whoop section's pretty good for passing, and there's actually 4 triples out here on this racetrack. A couple of the usual ones and a couple more, so it forces the riders to get very creative. And look at that.
4 riders fighting for 5 spots. There are only 3 spots out of this bunch. And all of a sudden, we've got Craig, Lawrence, and now Windham in the top 4 positions. Steve Steve Lamson trying to battle back with LaRocco on his tail.
Yeah, there's so much room out there for these guys to get in there and get side by side and dice it. But I think at the level of McGrath, who's just long gone, and also Lusk in that first heat, at their level, this best line out here might be only about 3 or 4 inches wide.
49-second laps, David Bailey.
Pretty fast, a little faster than usual. It's not like they run the same racetrack every week and we can use 49 seconds to compare that and say, boy, that's fast. But it's definitely going to be a little bit quicker main event. Usually the lap times are a little bit over a minute, right around a minute. At 49 seconds, 8 laps goes by quick.
Jeremy McGrath has moved out to a 5-second lead. You see Kevin Windham there in 4th place. That's the final qualifying position. Windham, who's had all kinds of trouble with that laceration, the length of his body down the right side. Just scraped the skin like he went across a cheese grater. But he's holding in, and it looks like he's riding painless. Lawrence goes flying down behind those yellow barriers. Number 24, a bad break for Bill Lawrence. And so let's recap the action now, David, as Jeremy McGrath way out in front. And it's Michael Craig safely in second, Windham safely for the moment in third, with Lamson in fourth, but Mike LaRocco could take over that final spot. Bill Lawrence still can't get that Kawasaki started. He went down hard.
Looks like he's going to be okay, but he has bent the bike. It's going to take a lot of work for his mechanic to get it ready for the semi, which is coming up shortly.
Final lap. Jeremy McGrath already proceeding on the final round on the circuit for this first qualifying heat. Here's number 5, Mike LaRocco. LaRocco coming back to his home track. He lives in South Bend, Indiana.
All the riders that time forced to just single that triple right over all 3 jumps because Lawrence was down there in the corner. Hadn't been moved off the track just yet. And what a battle with a lot of talent. Looks like it's going to have to go to the semi number 2.
Jeremy McGrath is just coasting along the loop section now as we see the battle with Lamson and Mike LaRocco. It's LaRocco moving into a spot for the main event. Here comes Lamson back again in the whoops. My goodness, this is the last lap. They've only got one more turn to go. It's Jeremy McGrath taking the checkers. Michael Craig in second, Windham in third, and it'll be Mike LaRocco just edging out Steve Lamson for that final spot. Marty Reed's on his way to the winner's podium for insight from Jeremy McGrath as McGrath's going to take some time, Marty, getting over there. We'll take a break. Jeremy McGrath, the decisive victory here in the first qualifying heat with Michael Craig, Kevin Windham, and Mike LaRocco making it to the main event. Phil Lawrence proving that anything can happen at any time in motorcycle racing, especially AMA Supercross. Marty, let's go down to you for the chat with Jeremy.
And it's his 5th heat win in a row, and I had you clocked at 49-second laps. I mean, that is quick.
Yeah, Randy was telling me 49 seconds on the board, and you know, I felt really good. I got straight out of the gate. My Bridgestone tires really hooked up, and you know, that's what you need out here. There's so many good guys. You need to be out in front right away.
All right, you're one step closer to another moment in history, number 64.
Yeah, I'm tied right now with Rick Johnson and Bob Hanna and me with 63 wins, and if I can manage to pull a win off tonight here in Indy and get 64, then guess I'll be the winningest rider ever.
Well, I have this feeling, knowing how confident you have been over the last few races, that you expect to be talking to me at the end of the evening.
Oh, I expect to be up here. You know, I expect nothing less. And my Chaparral 800 Collect Yamaha has put me out in front the last 2 weeks. And if we can do it again, we'll be real happy.
Guys, 49-second laps. This is a holy terror waiting to be turned loose in the main.